The movie is about Ishan, an 8-year-old boy who has trouble learning because of dyslexia. Even though he is in elementary school, Ishan still cannot read, write, or do math. He is more interested in the things around him than in his school lessons. Because of this, Ishan is often called the dumbest student in school. Ishan has an older brother named Yohane who is very smart and does well in school, the opposite of Ishan. Despite this, Yohane is very loving and cares a lot for his younger brother. One day, Ishan gets into a fight with Ranjit, his neighbor. Ranjit gets upset because Ishan throws a ball in the wrong direction. Ranjit pushes Ishan hard and calls him an idiot. Ishan ends up with a head wound, while Ranjit gets bitten and his clothes are torn. Their parents find out about the fight when Ranjit and his mother visit Ishan's house, blaming Ishan for what happened. Even though Ranjit is bigger and stronger, Ishan's injuries are much worse. Nandukashare, Ishan's father, gets angry at Ishan for fighting and punishes him, calling him a troublemaker. He even threatens to send Ishan to boarding school if he doesn't stop causing problems. At school, Ishan is often scolded by his teachers for not paying attention in class. One day, a teacher asks him to read a sentence, but Ishan struggles and says the letters are dancing, making it hard for him to read. The teacher thinks he is just fooling around and scolds him harshly, causing his classmates to make fun of him, labeling him as stupid. Tired of being scolded and bullied, Ishan decides to skip class. He goes wherever he wants and does whatever he likes without anyone bothering him. During this time, he sees many things and learns a lot through his imagination and curiosity. Although he is not good at reading, writing, or math, he is talented in art and often spends his free time drawing and painting. Later, Ishan tells his brother that he skipped school and asks for help in making a fake note so he can skip class again. The next day, Ishan and his classmates have a math test. Since Ishan struggles with math, he tries to solve the problems using his imagination. However, he takes too long and only finishes one question by the end of the exam. As expected, Ishan gets a poor score. One day, Ishan's father discovers a fake note Ishan used to skip school. This makes him furious, and he scolds Ishan for being caught. Things get worse when the school calls Ishan and his parents in for a meeting. The principal and teachers explain that Ishan cannot keep up with his lessons and is seen as a slow student. The principal suggests transferring Ishan to another school because if he repeats his grade again, he will be expelled. Reluctantly, Ishan's father decides to send him to a boarding school. Ishan begs his father not to send him away and promises to work harder. But Nandukashare's decision is final, as he dreams of his children becoming high achievers. Ishan's mother, Maya, feels sad and frustrated, blaming herself for not being able to teach Ishan better. She struggles with the idea of being separated from her youngest son, who now has to live away from his family. Ishan feels heartbroken that his father is willing to send him away. At the boarding school, Ishan is always sad, crying because he misses his family. Feeling alone, Ishan quickly becomes afraid, anxious, and depressed. His new teachers are no better than the ones at his old school, and his classmates often bully him. His only friend is Rajan, a smart boy with a physical disability whose father is on the school board. One day, Ishan even considers suicide, but Rajan stops him. Ishan feels trapped, missing the love and comfort of his family. Even during weekly visits, Ishan's parents cannot ease his pain because he continues to be bullied and called names. One day, a new art teacher named Ram Shankar Nikumb arrives at Ishan's school to replace Mr. Holker. Mr. Nikumb is cheerful and friendly, and the students like him immediately. However, Ishan remains withdrawn and distant in class. Mr. Nikumb's teaching style is very different from the previous teacher, and he soon notices Ishan's sadness when Ishan fails to draw anything in class. Ishan's mood worsens when his mother tells him they won't visit next week because Yohane has a tennis match. Mr. Nikumb learns from Rajan that Ishan is a new student who struggles in class. Curious, he checks Ishan's textbooks and discovers that Ishan has dyslexia. This explains why Ishan has trouble understanding lessons taught in the usual school methods. Ishan isn't a dumb student. He just needs special attention and support for his dyslexia. Mr. Nikumb knows this because he used to teach at Tulip School, which specializes in helping children with learning difficulties. He understands that Ishan needs a different approach to learning. To help Ishan, Mr. Nikam visits Ishan's family in Mumbai to learn more about him. He discovers that Ishan loves art, but his parents, especially his father, do not appreciate Ishan's creativity. His father believes that being an artist is not a valuable skill. Frustrated, Mr. Nikam shows Ishan's family how he struggles with reading because of dyslexia and how his poor motor skills affect his sports ability. Despite this, Ishan's father dismisses it as laziness and calls it mental retardation. Mr. Nikam tries to explain that Ishan is not stupid and has a great talent for art. However, Nandukashare often compares Ishan to his older brother Johan, who excels in school and sports, believing that Ishan can never be successful if he only focuses on art. Mr. Nikam feels angry that Ishan's father only sees life as a competition and pushes his children without thinking about their true potential. After Mr. Nikam leaves, Ishan's mother, Maya, reflects on his words and cries. The next day in class, Mr. Nikam talks about dyslexia, listing famous people who also had it when they were young. He explains that having dyslexia does not mean you cannot achieve great things. Mr. Nikam then tells Ishan that he also had dyslexia as a child, so he understands what Ishan is going through and will help him learn. In that day's lesson, Mr. Nikam asks the students to create crafts using their imagination. Ishan puts all his creativity into his craft, impressing both Mr. Nikam and his classmates. Mr. Nikam then goes to the principal, trying to convince him that Ishan is a smart student who just needs special attention to develop his talents. He offers to be Ishan's tutor and help him with his schoolwork. Recognizing Ishan's artistic talent, the principal agrees and allows Mr. Nikam to guide him. With patience and special techniques designed for dyslexic students, Mr. Nikam helps Ishan improve his reading, writing, and math skills. Over time, Ishan begins to understand his lessons better with Mr. Nikam's fun and patient teaching methods. He learns to read, write, and solve math problems correctly. One day, Ishan's father, Nandukashare, visits the school and tells Mr. Nikam that he and his wife have learned more about dyslexia and now understand Ishan's struggles. However, Mr. Nikam explains that Ishan needs more than just understanding. He needs love and attention from his parents. Mr. Nikam tells Nandukashare that Ishan needs to feel accepted and loved for who he is, regardless of his condition. Realizing his mistakes, Ishan's father reflects on how he has never truly supported Ishan, but instead often scolded and punished him, thinking of him as lazy and unmotivated. Nandukashare then sees Ishan reading from the blackboard. Overwhelmed with guilt, he quietly leaves the school without facing his son, his eyes filled with tears. At the end of the school year, Ishan's school holds an arts and crafts competition for students and staff. The contest is judged by a famous artist, Lalita Lajmi. As the competition begins, Mr. Nikam searches everywhere for Ishan, but cannot find him. It turns out that Ishan had gone to a nearby lake early in the morning to find inspiration for his painting. Ishan returns to school a few minutes after the contest starts. Mr. Nikam quickly guides him to his spot and encourages him to join the competition. Using his imagination and skills, Ishan creates a painting that impresses everyone, including Mr. Nikam, who has been helping him develop his talent. Ishan is touched to see that Mr. Nikam also painted a beautiful portrait of him. Thanks to his hard work and creativity, Ishan wins first place in the competition. His painting is chosen as the best artwork and will be used as the cover of the school yearbook. Mr. Nikam's portrait of Ishan earns second place. The whole school cheers for Ishan's victory. The principal also announces that Mr. Nikam will become a permanent art teacher at the school. When Ishan's parents visit the school on the last day before the holidays, they are amazed to see Ishan's painting on the yearbook cover. The principal praises Ishan as a talented student and feels lucky to have him at the school. Ishan's parents are speechless when the teachers share how much Ishan has improved, especially in art. Seeing their son happy, excited, and doing well at school, Nandukashare and Maya are grateful to Mr. Nikam for guiding Ishan and always supporting him. They realize how important it is to understand Ishan's needs, which are very different from his brother's. Before they leave, Ishan runs to Mr. Nikam, who lifts him up in a joyful hug. So the moral of the story is if you think punishing your kid will turn them into a genius, Think again. Turns out, all they really needed was a chill art teacher and some crayons to prove you wrong.